Hey there! Have you ever noticed your favorite restaurant suddenly tastes worse? Or your go-to product disappears while prices keep going up? These aren't random glitches. Behind the scenes, something big is happening, a private equity takeover. Private equity firms don't just buy stocks. They buy entire companies, take control, and push to increase profits fast. Think of it like flipping a house. Except the house is a company with workers, stores, products, and customers. Unlike hedge funds, which mostly trade stocks, or venture capital, which funds small startups, private equity targets older, established businesses with steady cash flow. Some of the biggest names are Blackstone, KKR, and Apollo, firms that control huge amounts of money and own brands people use every day. Here's the wild part. The buying trick they use is called a leveraged buyout, or LBO. Imagine a shoe company called Wei Shoes worth $100 million. A private equity firm might put in $20 million of its own cash and borrow $80 million. Then, after the deal closes, they pass all that debt onto the company itself. Suddenly, Wei Shoes is carrying a massive loan it never asked for. And now, it has to cut costs fast just to keep up with interest payments. That's when the noticeable changes begin. Layoffs, cheaper materials, slower service, delayed upgrades, and price hikes. Things customers eventually feel. There's a famous example, Toys R Us. Private equity firms used a similar debt-heavy structure, and the company spent most of its income on interest instead of innovation. It couldn't compete or invest in online shopping, filed for bankruptcy in 2017, and shut down its stores in 2018. The good news, they're making a comeback in 2024. But the big question is, how do private equity firms still make money when the company is buried in debt? The playbook is aggressive. First, they fire workers to lower expenses and push profit up, even if sales don't change. Second, they cut costs everywhere. Cheaper ingredients, fewer staff per shift, smaller portions, less maintenance. Third, they raise prices, which increases revenue overnight even if quality drops. Fourth, they sell buildings the company owns in a move called a sale-leaseback. The company gets a lump of cash, but now it pays rent forever. Fifth, they push the company to take more loans, collecting transaction fees on the way. If Wei Shoes borrows $10 million, the private equity firm might take $1 million as a fee, leaving the company with $9 million but still on the hook for $10 million plus interest. Sixth, they pay themselves special dividends because they're the owner. Finally, they flip the company and try to sell it for more. If it collapses before the sale, they've already collected fees, loans, and dividends. This is why many companies weaken or fail after a takeover. Red Lobster faced massive pressure from aggressive cost-cutting and sale-leaseback deals. Marsh Supermarkets collapsed after heavy debt and sale-leasebacks. And we've seen how Toys R Us struggled under the debt load. Some brands rebound, some don't. Quick pause. Drop a comment and tell me if you've noticed a brand you love getting worse or disappearing. What changed first? Prices, quality, or service? I want to hear your story and see the patterns you've spotted. Back to the bigger impact. Workers are usually the first to feel it. Jobs vanish. The remaining staff get overworked and stressed, and service slows. Local stores close, creating food deserts where communities lose easy access to groceries or basic goods. Customers pay more for less as companies prioritize paying down debt over investing in quality. In healthcare, the stakes are higher. When private equity buys hospitals, nursing homes, or emergency clinics, cutting costs can mean fewer nurses, fewer safety checks, and slower response times. Small mistakes can cause real harm. Tenants feel it too when private equity buys housing. Rents rise, maintenance lags, and buildings deteriorate. So why does private equity keep growing? For years, low interest rates made borrowing cheap, letting firms buy more companies and repeat the cycle. Massive institutions like pension funds and universities invest billions into private equity funds, chasing higher returns, giving firms a steady cash supply. Struggling companies become easy targets. Less competition means fewer choices and more pricing power. And in the last decade, Private equity has moved into basic needs like housing, hospitals, food, and childcare. Industries people rely on no matter what. Rules move slowly, and by the time new regulations are discussed, private equity has shifted strategies or industries. If you're into breakdowns that decode the money moves behind everyday life, hit subscribe and stick around for more. In the end, private equity buys companies with huge debt, cuts costs, extracts fees and dividends, and flips fast. Even if the company collapses, they already took their money. Next time your favorite brand changes, ask yourself this: is the debt trick quietly reshaping your everyday life?